Hello. I have a fiction story to read to you. And made up stories can happen wherever place the author dreams of. Sometimes it's places we know, but sometimes it's faraway places or outer space or even a made up place like Hogwarts. This story's a little different. I'm here in my backyard because this story, called The Snail House, happens in a backyard. But it's still an adventure story. It was written by Alan Alberg and illustrated by Gillian Taylor. Come here, children, Grandma asked, and the children came. Gather around and climb up now. And so they did, all warm and sweetly smelling from their strawberry picking. A story, Grandma, Michael asked. Story, asked Hannah. A story, yes, said Grandma. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a boy and his sister and their little baby brother, who all of a sudden got so very, very small that they could leave the house by the crack under a door. You see how they're getting smaller? This was the baby's rattle. And nobody noticed. Here they're going through the crack under the door, right there. My, said Hannah. So one day, that's just exactly what they did. They left the house and they went and found their own absolutely very private house. A small house, a snail house. Snail house, said Michael. Snail house, yes. On the back of a snail? Yes, that's right. And it was a proper house, too. For it had a door, windows, chimney, tables, chairs, 3 little beds, curtains, and everything. Did it have a TV? Hannah asked. No, no TV, only a radio. So there they lived in that house, which of course was a moving house. And they kept it spotlessly clean, dusting the furniture, sweeping the floor, washing the windows, and they fed that small friend of theirs with bits of lettuce and such. And they read books, and they hung their washing on the line, and they took care, good care, of the baby. And they had adventures too. 3 adventures, to be exact. The first adventure that those children had was the earthquake. One minute they were having breakfast, and all of a sudden, wallop, the whole little house shook. Plates smashed, chairs fell over, and that poor old snail just wobbled like jelly. Was it a human being? Michael asked, stamping around. Or maybe a cat, asked Hannah. No, no person or cat caused that sudden thump. You'll never guess what it is. Do you want to try guessing? Well, you see, the earthquake was caused by an apple. An apple falling from a tree. That's right. And did they eat it? Hannah asked. Well, some of it, for it was pretty big for them being so small. Only they shared it with a young red fox who happened nearby. The second adventure that the children had was the disappearing baby. He just crawled off one time while his brother and sister were playing catch, for only a moment it seemed, and was lost from sight in the forest of grass. Well, those children, once they realized what had happened, looked everywhere for the baby, even more and more frantic and tearful too as time went on. Look at all the places they've checked for the baby. But lo and behold, they finally spotted him. Aha! There they are running off. Can you see where the baby is? Aha! Said Hannah. Spotted him halfway up a dandelion stalk. See, it was leaning over and not growing straight, and next thing the baby grabbed a hold of it and was floating away, holding on tightly. It was like a parachute. They grabbed the baby, and by, after much puffing and huffing and running and chasing, they caught him and carried him home. To the snail house, Michael said. The snail house, Grandma said. The third adventure, though, was the scary one. Began one evening right after a shower of rain that fell like sacks of water exploding all around. The snail house was moving through the half light and the dampness, conditions that a snail most loves, when there was a heavy movement from above that cast a shadow into the snail house. The children felt this in their house, and they peeped out the window. What did they see? Said Hannah. I know, said Michael. They see high above and all before them through the grass a giant, mighty bird. Oh, said Hannah. It was a thrush, which is a lovely singing bird, of course, but for a snail, you see. Thrushes eat snails, cried Michael. You can see the legs of the bird through the window. Its tall, thin legs. What happened? What do you think? Will the snail be safe? It's a mystery. That's right. For a snail, I'm bound to say a thrush was like a tiger in the garden, and it came upon with its beanpole legs, looking here and there with its dark eyes. Well, that poor old snail just tucked his head in and hoped. But the children, they grabbed some pots and pans and they rushed outside, banging and clattering and hollering. Did they scare him off? Said Hannah. No, not quite, although they were hugely brave to try. No, it was a sudden, prowling cat that did it. She was the tiger in the thrush's garden that scared the thrush off. That was lucky that a cat came along just at that moment. Then the thrush went flying into a tall tree, and off the cat went, growling for something more. Here's your cat, Grandma, Michael said. Monty, Monty, Hannah called, And by, off and away on its own ever-shiny trail went the snail house, under the brightening stars. Down at last comes midnight, and it settled at the water's edge. The snail was moving, and it ended up settling down by the water's edge. And the next picture is very beautiful. This artist is amazing. There are no words on this page, just the beautiful picture of the snail and the children at the edge of the water. Some plants, activity in the water. What do you think is going to happen to the children? Can you tell just by looking at the pictures? Next, the day after having properly thanked the snail for his home and hospitality, the children went back to their proper size. So there's the baby rattle, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and now only the baby is holding the rattle. In the kitchen, Michael put on the light. Grandma, slowly walking with the baby in her arms, came following after. Out on the veranda, Hannah was standing, gazing into the muffled blackness of the garden. I think she's imagining what it would be like to be small and tiny in that garden. Right. Thank you for listening to this wonderful story. Bye-bye.